I'd like to call up Mindset.
Hi, I'm Ravi. As an MD PhD candidate, I study how we use biological signals to improve human health. I'm going to show you how we're using wearables like these to help people like Tyler. Tyler spent 18 months in Afghanistan. I want you to imagine what it's like to go from seeing this every single day to this. It's no wonder that when he gets to that classroom door, he thinks to himself, I can't do it. This is too much for me to handle. Now, most days, Tyler just goes home, but today's different because he's using Mindset. In his moment of distress, he gets a notification on his phone. When he clicks it, it takes him to a short breathing exercise. This is teaching him how to take control of his fight or flight response by controlling his breath. And in just a few minutes, he's shown how he reduced his heart rate as well as his stress levels. What's more is we can show him how he's progressing on his daily goals. And we can even remind him of something good he's saved that he's grateful for from 6 months ago. And you can see how his heart rate went from a spike to a low oscillatory state. So how do we know how stressed Tyler is? We use oscillations in heart rate, and I just want you to look at how different your heart rate looks during meditation versus stress. And once we know how stressed you are, we give you something to do about it. We use evidence-based practices from mindfulness, positive psychology, and cognitive behavioral therapy. It's kind of like a service dog. It follows you around. When it notices you're stressed, it nips at your heel and gives you something to do about it. But it goes beyond what a service dog could ever do. It gives you insight and feedback in the moment. It sets weekly goals and tells you about your progress. And it can even tell you when and where you get the most stressed. And unlike any other service dog, it'll never ask you to take it out for a poop. So how big is this problem? Neuropsychiatric disorders are the leading cause of disability worldwide. It's $1 trillion every year. The US is no better. For every 100 patients, there's only one mental health professional. This leads to an ROI of 4x for every dollar you spend on scalable mental health. So we went out and tested this ourselves and found that in 4 weeks, we reduced anxiety and depression in a St. Louis local business. Then we gave it to a clinician and had it tested in his population. And in 6 weeks, everybody who used the app in blue saw a reduction in depression. The one person who didn't use it did not see that reduction. So this model has been proven out by other companies like Headspace and Calm.com that charge $13 a month. Headspace is now valued at $250 million. It started in 2010. We've tested our own price point for the software. We resell hardware with our hardware partners, and we work with multiple institutions to reduce stress in their population, as well as support their research goals. But now we're getting requests from behavioral health centers and addiction centers to use our product. So we've gotten this far with a small management team of myself and my co-founder. I'm a PhD in brain-computer interfaces and worked at the National Institute of Mental Health. My co-founder is a full-stack software developer, biomedical engineer, and WashU's top entrepreneur when she graduated. And we're bolstered by clinical and business advisors like Jason Calacanis, who's an investor, and we have seed funders who span both worlds. We've taken this idea from an idea just written on paper. We've built out the product. We've iterated multiple times based on our user feedback, and we got to clinical pilots. And now we're ready to go and explore how we're going to get recurring sales. We know how much it costs for getting a download, and we know what our outbound pilots cost. So this is our next phase. And what we'd love from you is the $10,000 to help us support our behavioral health clinic pilots. And even if we don't get the money, we'd love introductions to behavioral health centers at Jefferson University. And with that, I want to leave you with one final parting gift. If you go home tonight and write down 3 things that you're grateful for, and if you do that every day this week, you can have more happiness for up to 6 months. Now, most of you won't do that, but what you will do is check your phone 150 times every day. So let us do the hard work of reminding you to be grateful, because that's what we're doing around America and across the world. Thank you. We're Mindset.
Ravi, it's a big patient population. How are you going to distinguish yourself vis-a-vis all your competitors?
Well, there are two other groups like ours that are using biometrics for this purpose. We use third-party wearable devices, so they're much cheaper than our competitors like Empatica, which has like a $1,000 device. And we are focused on getting this out into behavioral health centers' hands and working with them to make this the most useful for the people who have the most pain. So that's unlike Headspace, who are going to more of a consumer model.
Do you have any concerns about the wearable device that you have and its use by this consumer base?
Can you give me more?
I guess the question is this going to be something that you're going to be happy and comfortable wearing every day if this is something that you suffer with?
Oh, that's a good question. So we found in some of the researchers we talked to, they do experiments with kind of the chest straps. But we found once you go to the optical heart rate device on your wrist, people are comfortable wearing it on a daily basis. Many devices out there are not accurate enough to get the oscillations that I was telling you about. So we partner with the devices like Mio, and we're starting to work with Withings, which is a Nokia company, to only work with really accurate devices.
Yeah, I'd like to dig a little deeper on what Kyle was just asking. So, do you have any hard data to suggest or support the notion that the wearable is really that critical piece of this platform? And what I mean by that is if you can give folks the tools, whether it's transcendental meditation, whether it's cognitive psychology, or whatever the tools are to deal with their stress, then I just wonder, since most of us know when we're feeling stressed, how important is the wearable?
So it's a great question, David. And part of our hypothesis here was that if we could give you the intervention in the moment of your distress, it would be more helpful. And what we learned from engagement, we have users with and without device, the device. And the engagement, these are users with the device, is twice as high when they do have a device. And you know, a couple people have said to me that they know when they're stressed. But what we know from the science is that when you're stressed, you are hyper-focused on whatever it is you're stressing you out. And it's hard to get that third-person type of mentality to understand that you need to take a breath in that moment.
In your application, you talked about 100 free downloads, I think?
5,000.
Or is it oh, it's 5,000. Okay. Have any of those converted to paid?
So we have gotten paid pilots with the institutions and with the same price point. We're working currently to put a paywall up on the app itself, but so far our only revenue is from paid pilots.
From the competitors, are they having these users maintain their subscription for longer than a trial period, a month, 2 months, 3 months? I'm concerned that if there's a point that you reach where you've said, I've been able to deal with these stresses, that I'm going to stop and I'm going to lose these patients and my model's gone.
It's a great question, Kyle, and I think companies like Headspace are dealing with that right now, that everybody wants to meditate, they download the app, but they realize they don't use it. So that's why we're focusing on people with the biggest pain who have more than one reason to meditate and to stay focused on the behavioral health goals. And also, they have clinicians who are prescribing this app to them. And we know that engagement is twice as high when a clinician gives you an app. So that's why we're working with a group that's highly engaged, and from there we can expand out to the larger population.
Is there another price point model that might work here instead of having to have this $10 app, that we can make it a free app or something that is maybe a premium, you know, when you have to use it? Because my concern still is going to be, I'm going to stop paying at 3 months. But if I have this on my phone and I need it on the time being, then can I pay the $1, $2, whatever it may be, per use?
That's a good question. We are exploring different pricing models. You know, can you pay for a package that you can download of meditations and things like that? So certainly things we're thinking about, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your questions. And everybody, I hope you'll download the app. You can find it on the App Store. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mindset.